G'day guys, welcome to another video, and today let's talk about PTE Academic. Let me show you the full test structure, and well, without further ado, let's get started. Here we go. PTE is a computer test that takes about 2 hours, well, technically 2 hours and 15 minutes, and that you can use it to either get points for your PR, to validate your studies, basically to stay in Australia, to study in a university. Anyways, let's get into it. The very first thing that you'll have is the speaking and writing sections, and you'll have a personal introduction. This is not scored, so technically you could say anything, but what I always recommend is to say something positive or something that doesn't give you any stress. Sometimes, I remember when I was a test taker, or when I took the test for the first time, I would say something that really stressed me out, and that didn't really help. So for example, I said something like, okay, my name is Emilio, I want to stay in Australia and I need to pass this exam, and as soon as I said that, I was getting all worked out, all very stressed. So what I tell students is, do not worry too much about what you say, but try to keep it positive. You could say something like, you're taking this exam because you really like Australia and you want to see how your English improved. That's actually what I said on my last attempt, where I got a very good score, and that's what I would always recommend. Okay, so that part, that's all done. Then we have read aloud. This is an important section because lots of times people say that read aloud is one of the most important areas of the test, which is true. And again, that's what you're gonna get. Normally you'll have a text, not like this. You'll have just one text, a bit of time to basically have a quick read. A quick read is not like 2 minutes. A quick read is like 20 to 30 seconds. And then you'll have to, as the name says, to read it aloud. You'll have a microphone with you. Technically you'll have a headset with a microphone, and then, well, everything will be recorded. It is important also to say that before the test starts, you can check that your audio and everything is working. This is also one of the reasons why we have the personal introduction, so that you can check that everything is going well before you get started, because once the test starts, it's a bit more difficult to get any assistance. And if you go and complain to Pearson, you may not get the support. The last part of the speaking section, which is answer short question. And answer short question simply means that you'll be given a question on the screen. Sorry, not on the screen. You'll be asked the question and then you'll have to reply and basically give the answer. So for example, you could say, what's the device used to record videos? Exactly, camera. There we go. Well done. Now, next is the writing section. So here we have two things. We have summarize written text and write essay, basically. So for the summary of the written text, you'll get a text or a passage like this, usually somewhere between 2 to 4 paragraphs. And then your job will be to have a quick read and to paraphrase, basically to summarize this in about 10 minutes. And you need to write about 35 to 75 words. And it should be all in one sentence. Next is the write essay. So this is the infamous essay question, which also gives you lots of points in the test. So it is important to do well with this one. And with the write essay, you'll have 20 minutes to plan and to write an essay. And you should write about 200 to 300 words. It is not a lot of time, let me tell you. But the good news is that we can do it on the computer, so that really helps. You'll get an essay question like the one on the screen. You can pause the video and then check that one as an example. That will be the end of speaking and writing. Then we have reading, and with reading we have different parts. One of it is multiple choice single and multiple answers. Here we have on the screen an example of multiple choice single answers. Usually you have 1 to 4 and you pick one, nothing crazy there. But then when you go into multiple choice multiple answers, you have more options, and here is where things get tricky. Sometimes you could expect 2 to 4 answers to be correct. Next one we have here is reorder paragraph, and reorder paragraph, it is a tricky one. Lots of people try to basically just have a quick read and organize it. What I would recommend is have a bit of a read, take your time, don't rush yourself too much, and pay close attention to things like linking words, the ideas, the beginning of the paragraphs or the topic sentences, because all those things will help you put it in the right order. So that's reorder paragraph right there. The next one is fill in the blanks. So here, as you can see, you will have a text on the screen, or a short paragraph, let's say, a few options with some with some words, sorry, in a box, and then you're actually going to click. You'll drag and drop. Again, this is a bit of an example, so that's why it doesn't move, but that's usually what would happen. Then there is a similar one which does look different on the exam. I want you for now to just look at the screen like this. Very similar to what we had before. This one is also called fill in the blanks. Thank you, PTE. And here what you have to do is to click on the question, and that will give you 4 words. So 4 words will pop up. So for example, most of us, and then when you click, you will get the 4 options that you can see there. Most of us demand, look, claim, or deserve, and you need to pick one out of those 4, and you'll do that in the whole passage. So this one actually tends to be quite tricky because most of the time all the words that you have there in those options are very similar. Be very, very careful because this is one of those where people tend to lose marks, okay? I have already warned you. That'll be the end of the reading section, and then we move into listening, which is the last part of the test. So there is another one here. This one is called Summarize Spoken Text. This is one of those tasks that combines different bands because you are listening, you'll be taking notes, and then you're writing a summary. So now you're combining your listening skills with your writing skills. And this is one of those questions that also gives you lots of points. And for this one, you're gonna have 10 minutes again, and you should write about 50 to 70 words. Because this one is a summary, you don't need to worry about being only one sentence. So here you can have different sentences or more than one sentence if you wish. So this should put less pressure on you. Normally on the exam you're gonna have a text box, so it's not gonna look exactly like we have here, but the concept is the same. You can do 2 things here. You can take notes either by hand or you can take notes typing. I would say to type it because typing is just more efficient. Everyone is different, so you will have to try out taking notes by hand and then taking notes just by typing on the text box. The problem if you type on the text box is that you then have to delete it, and for some people that could be quite stressful because you are on the test conditions, but I'm just here giving you a few strategies. So that's the first bit of the listening. Then we have our usual multiple choice questions, and this is nothing crazy. You have a question, you have some options, and in this case we have a single answer and also multiple answers. So see here we have multiple answers. Then we have fill in the blanks. This is probably another one where you're gonna get lots of marks because you are testing your listening, your writing, and your spelling. So as you listen to a recording, you need to take some notes. Sorry, not notes, you need to write the words that are missing. So for example, almost everyone has heard of the London Stock Exchange, but very few know anything about blah 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 blah. So here if they say very few know about, then you have to type very few. The next one is a little bit different. So here you have a bit of reading and listening because you need to have a quick read, and you will have 4 summaries of an audio, and then your job will be to pick the correct summary or the summary that is the most accurate. Something that happens in this one is that many times these all look very similar, so it is hard to pick and you don't know which one you should pick. So go with the one that it is the closest. Then we've got, like I told you, multiple choice, single answer. This one should be okay. Select missing word. This is a good one. You're gonna be listening to an audio and your job is to find what's going to be the last word. So for example, Emilio is a fantastic boop, and then you need to complete the sentence and say fantastic teacher or whatever you have with the options, yeah? And sometimes you need to pay close attention to context because context is key and context will help you answer this. It's not always just grammar because sometimes you can get only adjectives or only nouns in the answers. So context will be king. This is probably my favorite question in the whole test. As it says here, highlight incorrect words. All you have to do here is to click. So you are probably very stressed up to this point. Now you can relax a bit, and what you're going to do is to just listen to a recording, and as you listen to it you're gonna scroll like this with the mouse as I'm doing, and then you just click when there is a different word. So for example, imagine it says when the European Economic Association, imagine, okay? And then if this word is different, when the European Economic Association was established, bloop, all you have to do is to click on the word. It is going to get highlighted like this, and then that should be all good. Last but not least, you have write from dictation, which is also one of those questions well known for giving you more marks. In write from dictation, as the name says, you will listen to a recording and then your job will be to just type what you hear. This will be what the PTE test comprises, so all of these activities are part of the PTE test. Some bands are combined, and I know the exam can be tricky, especially if it is your first time. And I know, look, we covered a lot in this video, so if you have a question, just drop me a comment. I'm more than happy to help out. So if anything is unclear, just let me know, or if you have a question about PTE and you want a teacher to help you out, just let me know. I'm more than happy to help.